Okay, thanks everybody for coming in out of the terrible weather out there into this nice, cozy conference room. We really appreciate that. And this morning you got a taste of some of the discussion when Sandy talked. He's going to go a bit deeper now. And I think you're going to enjoy the other two speakers too, who bring unique perspectives from their industries. But first, you have to put up with me for a little bit. And I've got to give the automation companies, the suppliers, credit. They've come a long way. Since I started in the industry, they've moved from what was really hardware and, if you're lucky, software, to something now that's more approaching truly integrated systems. And I can remember that the algorithms was a big thing. You know, whether you did your PID algorithm a certain way, it was so important. Now it's really applications. How do you apply all this and solve real-world industry problems? And loops and logic has moved now to integrated information. And so we've moved from this technology-centric view of the world to a business-centric objective. How do we get business goals met? And so we have moved from just the best technology to the best partner. And to those suppliers in the room, I know you want to become their partners. And the way to do that is they're going to give you some ideas. So we still have a lot of pieces. I mean, they fit together pretty nicely, but there's still an awful lot of pieces. And there's, you know, software and hardware and networks and I/O, and you've heard about I/O this morning. And there's also the thing that deals with humans, not just the human-machine interfaces, but also how do you get the humans to do what they should do, what's instinctive for them, procedures, and so on. And of course, there's lots of planning and coordination required to get from that massive equipment to what's the final end stage, is what people like Sandy was talking about this morning. They want to get as quickly as they can there with the least amount of worry and, of course, money. So at the same time that the automation systems have actually evolved quite a bit, business has evolved. And you heard Sandy talking about 100 projects going on. I can't even imagine dealing with 100 projects, but it's real. These folks all have multiple projects they have to deal with and keep them all coordinated. So the goal is to have, to be able to manage your business processes as well as connecting the systems and the people, both internally and externally. So it's not just these companies want to communicate internally, they have to also communicate to their partners. So you've all seen variations of the asset lifecycle. So I'm showing what I coined, I didn't coin it, but anyway, the automation lifecycle. So it is an asset when you think about it. So there's a planning that goes through, there's a design and build portion, and then there's the operate and maintain. Well, what you're going to hear is that from a project's perspective, there's a need for shortening this design and build in many ways. One is to eliminate unnecessary steps. You know, take the human out of the element. If you don't need that human to make a decision, or as Sandy said, make a mistake, if you can remove that step, there's no chance of him or her making that mistake. And you want to use virtual as much as you can before you actually have to commit to the real. Now, the same thing goes on the operations side. You don't want to live with just what was installed. You want to live with something that's going to give you the I in the O&M. And that I stands for improvements. You want to continuously improve on what you have. You can't be satisfied with what was installed on day one. So Andy showed this slide earlier, so he spoiled it for me. But anyway, basically, we have these automation systems now. And already, many of them are being connected to the outside world, to the cloud, hopefully through the private cloud, but enabling other things in your business besides just the automation in a particular plant. You have engineering and other disciplines that need access to the information you have. Plus, as Andy indicated, and he's right, there is a need to communicate with your partners and your suppliers to make sure that the services that are needed are done on time and within the specifications that you require. And of course, Andy also mentioned that there's some opportunities here. When you look at the Internet of Things, how can I apply that to move my goal of having a better business objectives being met? Now, we're a little bit away from this app, which you push the button and it says, okay, you have just configured your pre-wired, totally integrated, backward and forward compatible automation system. That's going to take a little bit more time than this conference is going to allow, but hey, who knows? In the meantime, let's hear from some of the folks who have real issues and real challenges to meet. So without further ado, as I said, we have 3 excellent organizations to speak to the matter. You've already met Sandy. We also have Brian Griffin from Nestle and George Aranez from General Motors. So we've covered the gamut in terms of automation verticals as well we can in the hour and a half that we have. So first, let's please give me a round of applause for Sandy Vassar for his Act 2.